Next one up, Neil Patel. If you do not know Neil Patel, I'm sorry, I still love you, but you've been living under a rock. Neil is a best-selling author and New York Times best-selling author. He has been named by Obama as one of the 100 most important entrepreneurs. He works with the UN, he runs a big-ass agency. And today, he will talk about SEO, specifically how you should work with content, how you should work with YouTube, the tools that you should use, and also a lot about internationalization and how to run globally. Neil, the stage is yours.
All right. Welcome to Ad World. Next speaker, I don't think I actually have to introduce him to you. It's Neil Patel. He has hit the New York Times bestseller list. He has been named one of the most important marketers in this world by everybody you could even think of, even the former president of the United States, the Forbes list, you mentioned it. Welcome, Neil Patel.
Thank you for having me.
It's good. It's so good to see you again, buddy. It has been a while until last time that we spoke in person, actually, at one of the iStack events. So it's so good to at least see you in our virtual house today. Let's kick it off with an easy one, right? I mean, it's 2020. COVID is everywhere. So it dictates how we live, how we market. How have things changed for you? And if you could go back to January, what would you do differently?
So what's changed for me is COVID has caused a big digital transformation. You know, McKinsey did a study and most companies are not ready for a digital transformation. It doesn't mean these companies aren't online. It's just that it means that majority of them are still making their revenue from offline, other partnerships, other ventures. And these companies have to start shifting their focus to being online first or digital first, and then offline second. Now, when you think about it, the big thing I would do if I was going back into January, sadly, if I had to pick one, it would probably be play the stock market a little bit better, because there's some plays that you could have made a killing on.
Yes.
But the big thing that I would have actually done is I would have added more upsells, more downsells, so more conversion rate optimization in your funnel, whether it's e-commerce physical goods or whether it's services based, because you can always add in more upsells, even like for software subscriptions. And a good example of this is the one-time offer by Russell Brunson. You can YouTube that and you can end up seeing a whole script on how to get those upsells. And the reason I would say I would add that in, and sooner than later, like in January, is because ad costs went down, then eventually they started going up, and now in many cases they're actually more expensive than they were before.
Exactly.
If you don't have your funnel fine-tuned, you just can't compete, because as more people come online and spend more money online, it's creating more competition, which is causing the cost to go through the roof. So unless you have your funnel fine-tuned and you figure out how to increase your average revenue per user or the lifetime value, your numbers are not going to pan out.
Absolutely, yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that, because today's conversation will focus mostly on SEO, but I'm a paid kind of guy. That sounds weird, but anyways, I focus on paid on paid traffic mostly. In May, it seemed like everybody was the best marketer on earth, right? When it came to paid traffic, because it was just so cheap. Now, obviously, things are a bit different again. And now that we're approaching the end of the year, it's going to be very interesting. All right, so paid traffic, more upsells, more downsells, focus on your funnel. Anything regarding SEO that you would have done? Obviously, that's a more long-term play when it comes to SEO. YouTube is a bit faster. We can cover that as well. Anything that you would have done differently there?
Yeah, the big thing I would have done differently with SEO, and we've been doing it, but most companies haven't been doing it, is updating their content. So the biggest two traffic gains that people are seeing right now is, number one is internationalization. You take your content, you translate it for many, many regions. The majority of people in the world don't speak English, but the majority of the content on the internet is in English. So translations is an easy win. But the number two, and this one's a very close second, is updating content. And here's what I mean by this. With over 1 billion blogs on the internet, that's roughly 1 for every 7 people. There's even more websites than that. So how the heck is Google going to choose or Facebook going to choose, or any of these platforms, and let's stick with SEO, so mainly Google, how are they going to choose what content to display at the top versus what ones not to? Because now there's the same content on literally every single topic because it's all regurgitated. One of their factors is how fresh, how new, how updated is it? How relevant is it still? Because if the article is 5-10 years old, you bet you it's probably not going to be as good as the one that is a month old or 2 months old. Now, your article doesn't have to be a month old. You can just go and update your old content. And what I mean by that is make it relevant again, delete the stuff that isn't, maybe update the pictures, add video tutorials, try to create a better experience. You don't just want to add a sentence or two. And when you republish, you don't want to change your URL, but you do want to change your publish date. And if you do that, you'll be better off. And your traffic starts going up usually within 30 days of updating that piece of content.
That's pretty cool. Okay, well, let's talk more about content. Actually, I think that's a super fascinating topic because, as we know, we're kind of at the mercy of Google or Bing when it comes to how you rank, and there is some aspects that you cannot change. Others, of course, you can, and you just mentioned a couple of points that people should have been taken over the last couple of months specifically, but in general should look into. If we focus on content, what other aspects of SEO should we look at? I remember seeing one video of you where you were all about understanding your target group a lot better and writing articles for them. Makes a lot of sense, but there's so many details to that. Maybe we start on that, understanding the user and expanding from there when it comes to content for SEO.
Yes, so there's different parts of a funnel. There's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, and there's many, many different aspects of a funnel. And here's what I mean by that. Some people are just typing in keywords to do research, right? Like, what is the best laptop out there? What is the best laptop for a college student? What is the best laptop for a developer? Some people are ready to make a buying decision. MacBook Pro versus Lenovo. I don't know any Lenovo models. I use a MacBook.
Yeah, me neither. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. MacBook Pro versus Windows Surface, right? And they're making decisions because at that point, that's a comparison keyword. One versus the other, you know that they're interested. Or MacBook Pro discount code, MacBook Pro coupons, right? Those are more transactional keywords. Buy a refurbished MacBook Pro. Again, another transactional keyword. The reason I say this and why this is super important is people these days are they're writing content for traffic, as we would say, but they're not thinking about, is that traffic going to cause more conversions, more sales, more leads? Having 10 million visitors, but very little revenue is useless. You're better off having 10,000 visitors and making double, triple the money. Plus, you'll probably save money too because your server costs will be lower. So I look at it as, are you getting the right type of traffic? And I have a free keyword tool called Ubersuggest, and it'll show you in a keyword ideas report ideas that people are typing in through Google Suggests, other related keywords. But the big ones to look at are the prepositions, comparisons tab, because that's where you can end up finding more keywords that are more bottom of the funnel where people are ready to buy.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And I like your example. That is very purchase intent heavy, right? Because a lot of people work with keywords like that when it comes to paid ads, of course, but using a combination of those keywords also for SEO traffic makes a lot of sense, of course, especially in times like these where people tend to shop more online. Okay. Another thing that you mentioned was about updating blog posts or content in general. How about expanding on it? That's something else that you could do, right? So you mentioned your tool, Ubersuggest.
Yeah.
If that spits out long tail keywords, what would you recommend doing with those?
Sure. So when you updating also means, as you mentioned, expanding, or even in certain times, contracting and making it shorter. Here's a perfect example. You don't need a key article on how to tie a tie, and you don't need to make it 2,000 words. Let's face it, as men, we want to see an image on how to tie a tie, or a video, or animated GIF. Maybe you have some words, but you probably don't need more than a few hundred words. So with something like that, when you update it, it's more image-based. But here's the thing. A lot of the searches on Google are educational. How to do X, Y, and Z. How to install a bidet. How to install a toilet. How to do SEO. How to run paid ads. What is affiliate marketing and how does it work? So expansion is really important. And if you rank for some of the head terms, what you'll want to do is, and you can see this in your Google Search Console, it shows you what terms you rank for. You can take those head terms that are driving you traffic, put them in Ubersys, it'll give you a list of long tail versions. Take the long tail variations that are relevant to your business and site. The reason I say relevant is not all those keywords are relevant to that article. For example, if I have an article on affiliate marketing and it talks about the articles on what is affiliate marketing, and let's say there's a long tail keyword that is related to like casino affiliate programs, right? I probably don't need to talk about casino affiliate programs in an article on what is affiliate marketing. But if there's terms like how to get started in affiliate marketing or how to find affiliate offers, those are examples of long tail terms that would make sense for that article that is around what is affiliate marketing. So you want to take the ones that are relevant, integrate them within your text, make sure they blend in. Don't keyword stuff. You don't have to necessarily mention them 4, 5, 10 times or any number like that. Has to naturally blend in, whether that's 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. It's up to you on whatever's natural. And then you want to, of course, expand upon it and include content around that topic as well. And then repost that article or update it. And just make sure you update the publish date as well. And keep the URL the same. Always keep the URL the same.
Right. And I guess you don't want to have the date in the actual URL, right?
Correct.
That's
Yes, I shouldn't say always, because always is, there's always those random exceptions. But like if you had dates in the URL, you would want a 301 redirect from an old URL to a new one. You also don't want your URLs more than 50 to 60 characters, typically when they're too long. So let's say your URL is neilpatel.com/blog/how affiliate marketing works for casinos, right? how-affiliate-marketing-works-for-casinos. Okay, that's a long URL. What will happen is you'll rank for a lot of affiliate marketing related terms when it comes to casino affiliate marketing, but you won't rank for a lot of affiliate marketing terms when it comes to non-casino terms. And the reason being is Google thinks that article is very specific towards casino affiliate marketing. Now, if the article discusses casino affiliate marketing, bingo affiliate marketing, sports betting affiliate marketing for e-commerce and dog food and auto insurance and medical insurance, that article really isn't just on casinos. So you wouldn't want to have casinos in the URL or even you don't even really need what is in the URL. You could just have your URL affiliate marketing.
Good, thank you. Definitely. All right. Well, you already mentioned 2 tools, right? Your own, Ubersuggest, and also the Search Console. What other tools would you recommend in 2020 if people want to improve their SEO strategy?
The big one is Google Data Studio. So think of that as your BI tool, right? Your business intelligence tool. That's free. You can connect all these data sources in one place, which will help you do better analysis. And it's not just for SEO, it's for paid, it's for social, it's everything in one area, because see, SEO is no longer just SEO. You're creating content, you're getting social shares, you're trying to generate backlinks. The more social shares a post generates, the more people likely to see it, the more people likely to link to it, which helps SEO. Everything is feeding off of each other. We've now come into a world where marketing is now omni-channel. So having all your data in one place and then optimizing based on all the data that's coming in, that'll allow you to do a better job with your marketing overall.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Data Studio is one of the most important tools for us as well right now. Can just be a pain to set up, of course, if you want to have a true omni-channel overview of all your channels. Then attribution comes in and all those kind of things, but definitely, yes.
And there's tools like SuperMetrics that'll help you with Data Studio as well.
Perfect. All right. Happy you're going that route as well. What are other tools that you would recommend?
Another tool that I love using is anything that's related to A/B testing. So whether it's Optimizely, Hotjar, BWO, Crazy Egg. The reason I like those tools is when you're creating content for SEO, what you'll find is your pages that rank have lots of text. You're creating content. Google wants to organically rank sites that are text driven. Not always, but majority of the time, right? How to tie a tie doesn't need a lot of words on the page. Abraham Lincoln's history does need a lot of words on the page. How to do SEO needs a lot of words on the page. So you're trying to get leads from these SEO campaigns. And let's say you're an affiliate. Most affiliates are used to driving paid social traffic or paid Google traffic, driving to a landing page, and you can make them very aggressive and it converts well. But with SEO, it's very text-based. Your conversion rates aren't as high. So having these softwares helps you continue to optimize and tweak your blog posts, not just for rankings, but also for conversions as well.
That's a very, very good point. Thank you. Yeah, I've been usually looking at SEO as a traffic source, right? But then, of course, you got to better understand how to deal with the specific traffic that you're getting, and some of those tools are absolutely important for going down that route. Okay, another question that I have is regarding YouTube. So obviously, you're big on YouTube. I think you have 700 something thousand followers, right? So you're definitely one of the bigger influencers when it comes to the marketing space on YouTube. If you compare SEO on YouTube with SEO for Google search, what are the biggest differences, and what should somebody focus on when they say, okay, finally, let's get started with YouTube?
So sure. So let's start with similarities. YouTube is very keyword driven. If I'm creating a video on SEO, I naturally mention SEO. So let's say this video goes on YouTube. We've mentioned SEO so many times, YouTube can decipher and know that the video is on SEO because they have audio recognition software or whatever it's called that helps them transcribe it. So then you're going to rank better for SEO. But you still want to do your keyword research and then add the right keywords in your tags, your title, your description. You also want to upload a transcription, a manual transcription, like through Rev or any one of those services. So that way YouTube also can double check their own work. They prefer when people do it manually. But that's some of the basics, right? And that's similar to Google SEO, in which very keyword centric, keyword based. But where YouTube's very different is, see, Google is slow and steady wins a race. YouTube is very quick. Like if you do really well in the first 24 hours, you're going to rank really fast. When I mean fast, you can rank that day or within a week, usually at the latest. And you stay there usually for the long haul. So YouTube wants a few things. They optimize for how long are people on YouTube. Hence, they look at what videos do extremely well in the first 24 hours because it's a leading indicator that this video will do well in the long run. Because that keeps people on YouTube longer, which means they make more ad revenue. 2, you want to keep your videos around 10 minutes. Could be less, could be more, but you don't want 3, 4, or 5 minute videos because the longer videos keep people on YouTube longer, which helps with your ranking. The third thing is, remember how I said whatever videos do well in the first 24 hours tend to do the best in the long run? You want to send out email blasts, push notifications, Facebook Messenger blasts, all these things within the first 24 hours, ideally in the first hour the video goes live, because boom, you're going to start ranking just because you had so much traction in the first hour to 2 hours. The next thing is YouTube looks at engagement a little bit differently. They look at things like comments. It's easy to like something. It's easy to dislike. It's not easy to comment because it takes time for you to write a comment. So the more your video encourages comments like, just a quick question, how many of you do SEO? Let's say this video goes on YouTube. And I'm like, let us know in the comments. Just type in yes if you do or no if you don't. Little things like that.
I have a question on this. Sorry for interrupting you, but I think that's super important. First of all, you mentioned that when you upload something on YouTube, you want to have email blasts, let your people know, maybe on other social media and so forth. Do you actually do that for every video that goes out? Because I think I'm on some of your newsletters, but I don't get an email for that all the time. Do you actually do that? And the second question will be for comments, right? Apart from asking people to comment, ask questions, give their opinions, do you have any hacks or any specific tactics that you use apart from that to get people's engagement?
Sure. So for the first one, I release 3 videos a week. I'll do a push notification for every video. I'll share it for every video. And then the third thing I do is the email blast on Saturdays for all my videos. Because it would be too many email blasts if I just email them all up. But that's my approach. So that has helped my videos with their rankings. The second question for comments, the easiest way is to ask questions or to try to run quote unquote polls or surveys. Or just let people know, hey, if you need any help or have any questions, leave a comment with your issues and I'll do my best to answer it. Another thing I do to increase my numbers is I respond to every comment. And another hack that I do is when I create a video, a lot of times I'll post a comment that asks a question, I'll pin it at the top, which then causes a lot of people to respond to that, which encourages more comments as well.
Okay, that's smart. That's a hack I was looking for. All right, thank you. Fantastic. I was interrupting you though. So any other differences between Google and YouTube? And if people want to start on YouTube, what they should implement right away?
I think we pretty much covered it with YouTube. Those are the main things. You got to push really hard and do your keyword research. Use the data from Search Console or Uber Suggest to use keyword research and then plug it into YouTube.
Perfect, thank you. Next topic I would love to speak about is something that you touched upon in the beginning of our conversation, and it's internationalization, right? You said that a lot of people focus on the English-speaking market in predominantly the US, because obviously it's a massive market. But then again, the non-US market is even bigger. So when it comes to SEO, what are the most critical aspects that you have to keep in mind when you want to target international traffic?
Yeah, so international traffic isn't too competitive. The big thing is you need to translate and transcribe your content so that way it's relevant. And you have to do keyword research for that country because the keywords that are popular in the US or in English won't be popular in other regions. We learned that one the hard way. And then in addition to that, what you want to end up doing is use hreflang. It tells search engines, this page is US English, this page is English UK, this page is French Canadian, this page is English Canadian. So that way they know what pages to rank depending on the searcher, and it's based on browser settings. The next thing you want to end up doing when you go international is have feet on the ground. What I found is you won't do well internationally unless you start getting your brand out there. So try to create press in that local market, do partnerships in the local market, run it like a real business, because if you don't, you're not going to succeed. Even if you do the SEO hacks and build the links, you're not going to do well unless you're building a brand globally.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's pretty down to earth. Actually, it makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people overcomplicate things, and something that I see you preaching over and over again is yes, there is technical aspects to everything, and yes, work with tools. But if you understand your customer and you write something actually useful or film something useful, then you will have your following, and you will have people also purchasing from you in one way or another. I have one question that is very dear to my heart as well, and it is concerning your New York Times bestseller, actually. So it doesn't happen every day that a marketer, that you are by profession, I guess, writes a New York Times bestseller. So I believe you have co-authored it, and I must assume that you were the marketing brain behind it. I would love to hear more about, if you can share that, what you did with SEO, if that played any role, and what else you did in that regard.
Yeah, so I didn't use much SEO. There's this company called Result Source, based out of San Diego, California, I believe. And the way the New York Times bestseller list works is they look at how many people are purchasing from all the random bookstores throughout the United States. So they don't just look at internet sales like Amazon. They're literally looking at everything. Like, is someone purchasing your book from the Harvard bookstore? Whether it's there or not, they can still place an order from a computer, right? From the bookstore computer. So it goes into their system. So, and they look at things like Barnes and Nobles. So what Result Source does is they can get your book bought from all those places. Now you got to end up getting your book purchased. So what I did was I did email blasts trying to get the pre-sales. I did contests, giveaways. I did consulting in exchange for book buys, speeches in exchange for book buys. And then I took all of that and then I sent the money to Result Source, and they took the addresses of people who bought the books. And what they did was they took those books and they ended up blasting it out to they bought them from those locations and then shipped them to the people, but they didn't just let them buy them from Amazon. So in essence, we took the money, gave it to them, and they bought it from all those places to quote unquote replicate what would be considered a New York Times bestselling list. We were on the list for 3 weeks because, you know, we had enough pre-orders where we did it for multiple weeks.
That's super interesting. See, that's why I love being a marketer, because stuff like that you can only invent if you have a brain like that, right? If you think performance and if you think how can you make things work in a different way, right? That's cool. So you basically just use your marketing skills, pre-sold a big number of books, right? And then found a way of having them registered or officially sold in a way and then shipped within a very short period of time, which gets you into the rankings. I do know there is other stuff to being ranked as a New York Times bestseller, which we don't necessarily have to cover here, but
yeah, no, that was really the main strategy.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that's fantastic. One last point. Since I'm asking you how you do things, I think it's also very important for people to understand how important competition analysis or competitive analysis could be. I feel you might call it spying, you might want to call it funnel hacking or whatever it is. When it comes to SEO and you want to look how competitors work, what kind of tools would you use? What's your process to, be at least as successful as your competition and hopefully a lot better soon?
So in Uber suggests on the left-hand navigation is this report called Overview under Traffic Analyzer. So it's the Traffic Analyzer Overview. It'll show you how much traffic your competitors get from SEO. It shows you the keywords they rank for and their top pages. So if you go to the left navigation, you click on top pages, it'll show you the most popular articles your competitors are getting for, all the keywords that they're ranking for and the position that drive traffic to that article, as well as who's linking to them. So then you go and you try to create better articles than that are more detailed, more thorough. You make sure you include the same keywords, and then you hit up the people who are linking to your competition, ask them to link to you. Then there's also the keywords report on the left-hand navigation. It'll give you a laundry list of all the keywords that your competition's targeting. You now have an idea of what keywords they're targeting that you're not, and then start creating content around those keywords. And that's what I do with competitor analysis. I really do break it mainly down by top pages because it gives you an idea of what pages of text to create and what keywords to include in each page.
Cool, fantastic. Quite an easy process if you if you go through it like that. So looking towards 2021, and that's my final question. How much effort do you personally put for yourself or your clients into SEO? How much do you put into paid traffic? We were talking about an omni-channel approach, and that's definitely the way to go forward nowadays. Where do you focus? What do you consider most important, if anything?
Yeah, so SEO has always been a big budget line item. We'll spend, well into the 6 figures a month just on SEO. Most of that money is going towards content creation and in many different languages, and then getting PR and press and partnering, because if you're not building a brand, it's hard to do well with SEO. Some of that money will go towards social ads to try to boost the content. And then of course, staff writers, right? Staff, writers, translators, all that stuff. So, but that's where we're spending a lot of our budget with SEO, and it works. And if you do it in the short run, within a year, you're not going to get the results you want. But if you do it for 3-4 years, amazing ROI. One of the best channels when it comes to ROI. Better than paid, better than anything else I've ever done when it comes to marketing.
That's perfect. All right, I'll definitely have a closer look at SEO. I do recommend to everybody watching this to check out your YouTube and all the other resources that you put out there. There's really great free resources. So thank you for that. Thank you for the service that you're doing for the marketing community. And of course, thank you so much for being at AdWorld, for joining us here at our virtual conference. And yeah, it's always a great pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much, Neil Patel.
Thank you for having me.